Facebook Landia. Phoenix here with another episode of Behind the Mask. This, I believe, is episode 28. Um, I think I've kind of lost count and lost track of that and how many I've done. Um, So yeah, I want to just acknowledge that this is continues to be my social experiment in showing up unpolished, unmasked, and yeah, lately it feels like I've been going into realms that I don't necessarily have words for. So I haven't been showing up weekly, though I am going to continue to show up. Well, I'm going to do my best to continue showing up at least fortnightly, which is every 2 weeks. Because it feels important to me to continue nourishing and nurturing this space for myself to keep on, yeah, building, growing the expression muscles, um, the unapologetic expression muscles, so that I can keep on showing up unapologetically and sharing the truth that wants to be shared through me. Because I believe we all have a truth that wants to be shared through each of us. And so, if I'm not willing to do it, how can I expect other people to do it? Yeah. So, this is me showing up. And today I want to share a bit more of this new found discovery that I've made in the past week around the word freedom, which is a really big deal for everybody. And it's a really big deal for me, freedom, especially at this time in the world where a lot of our freedoms of choice are being stripped away. Um, some of us are giving them away kind of unconsciously, some of us are holding on to them really tightly. Um, Consciously, unconsciously, it doesn't really matter, but it's not a game that's just started now. This is something that's been happening throughout time. And now we're here alive at this time to be experiencing it happening to us and to our relations. And so, this word freedom for me is something that I've danced with for a really long time, as I'm sure many of you have, because we all wish to be free. And I guess, if I'm honest, I'd say that I've also been on a journey of acknowledging all the areas, all the ways, and the places in which I haven't wanted to be free. Like I've oftentimes wished there was somebody to tell me what to do, or to be in a relationship that would just kind of like make everything better. Um, or friendships or relationships or life experiences that I've had where I've just kind of like given my power or my center away, given my freedom essentially away to kind of have this perception of it being easier or done for me. And as I've continued to journey, I realize that ultimately I'm responsible for my own experiences. I'm responsible for the way in which I walk and move through the world, and I'm also responsible for the way in which I perceive freedom, my freedom. And so, yeah, during this time in Melbourne, where a lot of our kind of external freedoms have been taken away, especially for those people who have made choices that do not comply with the, say, like consensus reality, collective consensus reality. There's been kind of freedoms taken away, and ultimately, yeah, that's I could go on a tangent with that as well, because yeah, for me, what I've found lately, that this perception of freedom is also, it's an inside job, just like everything. The more and more I take responsibility for myself and my life, the more I realize that it's all really an inside job. And maybe that sounds really weird, strange, um, confronting to some, though, yeah, the more and more I allow myself to let go of the external holds on my um, consciousness, on my awareness, on my attention, the more freedom I find inside of myself. And that hasn't come without its confrontations or discomforts. Um, I don't know many people who would take pleasure in just sitting by a fire for hours meditating. But that's something that I've come to find a lot of joy and pleasure from, a lot of understanding, and um, I would say like a deepening in my own sense of self and a deepening in my own sense of purpose and freedom, because ultimately inside of myself, I'm free. I'm free to let go of any limiting beliefs or limiting stories or limiting programs. Like, I actually am free to do that. And that's a choice that I get to make. Do I choose to hold on to limiting beliefs, limiting stories that tell me that I can't move, or I can't do something, or that I am not enough, or that I am not good to do something? Or do I just continue to like work from the inside out, like recalibrating and like being reshaped and reformed to a truth, a deeper truth that is in alignment with freedom? Because I look around and I look at nature and I see nature as being an amazing teacher on what it means to be free. Every tree is free to be itself, every blade of grass, every flower, the wind, the sun, the rains, the fire. Like, these are all beautiful teachers on what it means to be free, to be fully expressed as oneself. And that's, I can't say that those elements have the choice, though maybe that's another thing to think about. Do I have, like, I do have the choice to be free, perceive myself as not free, though I find that the more and more I give myself permission to lean into my true nature, like being an expression of nature, that it's almost like the choice becomes choiceless. There is like a process of becoming that's happening inside and through me that, yeah, I'm sure I've said yes to, because I keep on going into those spaces, keep on leaning into that unfolding. Though also kind of like the acorn, it's also the choiceless choice. It is destined to become what it's here to be. Just like me, I'm destined to become what I'm here to be. I can choose to like fight that inevitability. I can choose to like repress the parts of myself that are like wanting to emerge and wanting to be birthed. I can make choices to stay small and keep quiet and keep myself under wraps for fear of being judged, or um like having freedoms taken away, perhaps. Though the more I lean into the inevitability of the process of becoming, the more freedom I feel I am getting to play with and perceive and understand. And so a couple of days ago, I was part of this awesome project, this global unity convergence. And the brother who runs that project, he shared with me the etymology of freedom, which I've written a small post on. That really blew me away, really changed my whole perception, and has really been informing these kind of recent steps of my own becoming, my own flowering. And that is that free comes from the root word pre, which is to love. And dom comes from this root of dom, house, which is where the word domain comes from. And so this word freedom, like even I run I'm the steward for a business organization called Dancing Freedom. And so I'm just like, this is blowing me away because this is what I've been doing for the past 10 years is dancing freedom and allowing that kind of entity or that being that is dancing freedom to inform me. And now I feel like I've got like a whole nother upgrade in what that even means, which is kind of to serve this domain of love, and I feel like it's given me so much more of a dedication and a devotion to being a beacon for freedom, being a advocate for freedom, being a willing participant on the journey towards freedom, being a willing contributor in creating a world that is steeped in freedom, which is this domain of love. Kind of, as I've been journeying over these months, as things have kind of felt more clamped down on the outside, surprisingly, I've felt more free on the inside than I ever have, interestingly enough. This inner sense of freedom and expansion continues to grow because it's beyond my body and it's beyond my limiting programs. It's connected to something so much vaster and more expansive than anything that my human mind can actually comprehend. And so as I've been continuing to journey with this understanding of freedom, especially this week, it's really kind of put a lot of former pieces that were like kind of separate, like it's begun putting those pieces together so that I personally can see a clearer picture. Like I've often, I would say for many years, been journeying with this understanding of like sovereignty and this journey towards becoming sovereign, and this like working with the archetype of the queen or the sovereign or the steward to kind of really begin like leaning into and claiming one's own seat of power that's like not defined by somebody else's definition of what powerful means, like an inner power and inner strength is something that is unique to each of us, and that is something that is not defined but what other people think or say or perceive another. It's like this connection to myself and my soul, this connection to myself and my life journey, this connection to myself and this like higher being of self, like higher version of self. If you believe that there's like different parts of ourselves, there's like the little mind that kind of like talks shit, and there's like the higher mind that she just like knows. And I love dancing the dance. I love the partnership between these parts of myself, because the lower mind is the one that is really kind of connected to this earth, to these relationships, to my history, to my past, to my dreams, to the wounds and experiences that have shaped me and have carved me. And then there's this like higher mind who is almost like sitting at the helm of my ship, guiding me towards deepening my connection to my more than human, that is integrated, fully integrated human, that is integrated in all of her very like tender human parts, but also connected to that like larger web where I am powerful beyond measure. And so this journey towards that I've been on towards kind of claiming and reclaiming, because I feel like we're born sovereign and we're born free, and then we're kind of programmed, or it's kind of bred out of us in a sense through culture, society, And then at some point we wake up realizing that, oh, who I think I am is actually just comprised of all these other reflections that aren't actually me. And so who am I really, independent of all these programs and other people's perceptions and projections? So we start kind of teasing them apart to kind of like what's at the center? What is that pure essence of self that's there in the center? And I've been on that journey. And this sovereign being inside, she's she's claiming her space, and it's not a space that is in competition with anybody else's space. Like, we live in an abundant universe that provides an abundance of everything for all beings. And I believe that the more and more I allow myself to kind of claim this seat of personal power and this seat of sovereignty, it's almost like, the metaphor that I've been working with is like we're all kings and queens here stewarding this epic planet that is our domain, our queendom, our kingdom. Though now I actually realize it's our freedom. It's our freedom. It's our domain of love. Like, we are these sovereign beings remembering who we actually are and what we truly serve, which is love. And anything other than that just seems like a waste of fucking time to me, to be honest. Like, the more and more I kind of close my doors of perception to anything that is not in service to love and not in service to the empowerment of the human being and the human spirit, the more freedom I find is available for me to kind of to claim, to be with, to integrate into the wholeness of myself. And the less and less concerned I become of like what other people are thinking or what other people are doing. However, as I deepen my connection to freedom and what I am now kind of being initiated into through the recognition of freedom being this domain of love, it's like, how can I welcome more people in to this space, to this play space? How can I be an advocate for this potentiality of creatorship and authority, of weaving a reality that is in alignment with our service to the domain of love, rather than subscribing to stories that are disempowering. How do I utilize my will and my attention and my love to nourish and nurture stories that inspire possibility of a world, a reality that is for love, for the love of people, for the love of the earth, for the love of full expression, for the love of deep nature connection, for the love of abundance of all our needs, for the love of pure waters and pure soils and pure air for all of us to breathe. It's like the more and more I recognize myself as a sovereign here in stewardship of this domain of love, it's like, yeah, I want everybody hanging here, and I want other reflections that are hanging here. It doesn't really seem to be anything more important than tending to this domain of love. Like, what else could be more important? Like, really, judging, othering, taking away, like kind of mining, taking more than what is actually necessary. It just seems so crazy, actually, that any being would want to be out of alignment with freedom. And so, yeah, I'm curious how I can continue to deepen my allegiance to the domain of love, and how I might continue to deepen my alliance with other sovereign beings who have become aware of their stewardship within this domain of love, and how together we might continue to, I don't even want to say claim or reclaim, it's like just acknowledge, reside within this knowing that we are free, and kind of project into the field of reality, the field of possibility, timelines, stories, experiences, opportunities for all of us to keep on nourishing, nurturing, growing more and more freedom, opportunity for all beings. That really excites me. That really turns me on. Really, really turns me on. Like, when I allow myself to dream wildly, yeah, like a a planet, a place where we're all empowered, where we all belong, where all of our gifts are necessary, where nobody has power over. We're all sharing power. We're all sharing power together as humble stewards of love. This domain of love. Freedom. And yeah, I'm sure, I know, there's other agendas. That's frightening for a small few. For everybody to have power and everybody to have freedom, it can be frightening for forces that are kind of not in alignment with that. Though, yeah, I'm gonna put my heart into that agenda. I'm gonna put my service into that agenda, to serve freedom and love, and to continue allowing all of those thoughts and programs that do not serve that within myself to fall away, be composted to something more fertile and aligned with my true nature, your true nature, can emerge. Yeah, that is my quantumplation for now. Have a beautiful day.